audience or someone who simply wants to grow their network effectively, you're going to come away with some actionable strategies today. So, more on that in a minute. How was your weekend? We have been having a big north swell, which means one of my favorite big mushy waves on the North Shore has been pulling in a few peaky ones. Tricky to catch, but if you're at just the right spot, you might get lucky and get a wall to work with. So I pulled out my 6'4" modern love child. It's like a fun board for those of you who are familiar, which is perfect for going faster on bigger waves and getting into them early enough. So I'll be going out for a surf after this live stream because there are some funky 8-foot faces out there right now, and I've got to catch some. So have you checked out my latest episode on the Mango Effect podcast this week? I actually talked about why surfers are not flaky and how we can all learn to live in rhythm with nature, no matter whether we are living in the Four Seasons or living elsewhere. There's something special about getting into flow while doing an activity you love or building your lifestyle and work style around your passions, your hobbies, your interests. So while you're there, check out the other 30 some odd episodes about creating a life that you love, being a digital entrepreneur, living in Hawaii, learning to surf, doing life your way, and more. Now it is time for Mondays with Mindy. This is a weekly show on Monday afternoons if you're based in the US, where I talk about all things LinkedIn, pipeline, promo, and profiles, what I call the 3 Ps of LinkedIn. So do you have questions about LinkedIn that you want me to answer? Be sure to like this post, whether you're watching live or from the replay. You can leave your questions below. I will answer them either after the show or on a future episode of Mondays with Mindy. But let's get right to today's topic. What are some ways that you can actually start to build your LinkedIn following faster? Whether you're trying to build a LinkedIn page, like we talked about last week, or simply want to build your own network and following at a faster pace, we are going to get into 3 of my favorite techniques. It's not all of them, but it's 3 of my favorites. So today we're talking about building a following, which is similar to, but not exactly the same as increasing your connections inside your network. I do want to be clear. LinkedIn followers are not necessarily connections. So, connections are people you have intentionally chosen to add to your network because there's an obvious mutual benefit for the two of you to be connected professionally. In other words, you sent them a LinkedIn connection invitation or they sent you a connection invitation. There was a somewhat mutual agreement between the two of you that you each wanted to be a part of the other's network, and boom, now you're connected. So if you are connected to somebody, you are actually automatically following them unless you manually, they or you, manually unfollow the other. So by default, if you are connected to somebody, they are considered one of your followers by nature of the connection request. Followers are a bit more of a one-way street though. So with a follower, someone who wants to follow you or your LinkedIn page, they can do so without asking your permission. All they need to do is click the follow button to keep up with the content you are sharing and posting to LinkedIn. So are they valuable? Yes, but they should be treated a little bit differently than your connections. When it comes to LinkedIn, should you just sit there and wait for the right connections to ask you to connect to grow your following? Or does it help to be a bit more on the proactive side? So here's what could happen if you just kind of let your LinkedIn following and network happen to you. You may be on the receiving end of a bunch of LinkedIn connections from people you don't care about or are just trying to pitch you something. I know I've been there, done that. I still get spammy connection invitations. I still get spammy followers. Or your network could turn into a big following without the strategic element to it. You know, that's something we've talked a lot about on this show. So it's not a good prospecting or business collaboration tool, especially if you're not paying attention to who's following you. So it's really important to pay attention. Or you may never quite hit that 500 plus connection mark, which is important on LinkedIn, which means the people you want to reach may be a bit leery in accepting a connection from you or reaching out to connect or follow you. Or you could have a solid LinkedIn network that lies untouched while you leave big money on the table because you don't know how to proactively engage with the people there or how to attract more of those followers to it. So today we are going to figure out how to get your following growing consistently. We're going to talk about a few of my favorite formulas for followers, some tips about how to attract the right people, and a simple way you can ensure that your followers feel valued because it matters. And it doesn't have to take a ton of time to do. So, aloha, for those who don't know me, my name is Mindy Rosser. I am the founder of Mindi Roster Marketing, and I have a brand new program, super excited about, called the 90-Minute LinkedIn Profile for those who want to go from 0 to 60 on LinkedIn with their profile and network, as you guessed it, in 90 minutes. So I'll be sharing the details of how you can get on the wait list at the end of this live stream, or check the comments if you're watching the replay. I will be opening the doors to this program at the end of this month, so stay tuned for all of that goodness. I help professionals who feel they are the best kept secret in their industry to become that go to visible expert in their niche so they can get that next opportunity, grow their business, and scale their impact on LinkedIn. In this live, we are going to talk about why not paying attention to how you're growing your LinkedIn following can cause you to miss valuable connection opportunities with the right people, and how to approach building your LinkedIn following the right way so that you can accelerate your business, kickstart the right relationships, and of course, generate more leads, right? So, are you ready? Let's do this. Go ahead and like this post, whether you are live or watching from the replay, to give it some social love. So, a common mistake I see people making on LinkedIn is not understanding the value of a LinkedIn follower, as they only think that connections count. Now, if you've watched any of my other live streams about building a great LinkedIn network, you've probably heard me talk about the importance of building a LinkedIn network filled with the right connections. So I'm not going against that. I still believe that connections are one of the most important things you can do on LinkedIn to grow your business, to get that next opportunity, to build a really healthy network. LinkedIn followers may not have as strong of a tie to your network, but they still do matter. And too many people overlook them because they're like, it's just a follower. No, these are still human beings that have chosen to follow your content. So if you are looking for some simple ways also to grow your network with the right people, your followers may be one of the first places to look. So when someone follows you on LinkedIn, they are making the first move that they want to keep up with the content you're sharing. Some of them are also a little bit apprehensive about sending you a connection invitation, especially if they don't already know you or they don't have a mutual connection that they can reference. Some people are so cautious that they do not want to be considered a spammer. So, what they will do is they will follow you and kind of cross their fingers and hope that you notice and send them a connection or follow them back. This is one of the ways that people tend to reach out on LinkedIn, and also trying to get on your radar people that may not feel confident enough, or maybe they see you at this level, like you're a thought leader in the space. And so they don't want to be presumptuous. They don't want to overextend themselves and send you a connection invitation because they feel that may be too direct. So do pay attention to these followers because they are trying to get your attention. They do want to keep up with your content. They do care about what you're posting. But the majority of your followers are signaling that they would be open to connect with you if you saw the mutual benefit in connecting. So, a wonderful thing to do is to pay attention to your followers. Who actually is following your content that you are not connected with already? So, you will also get some spammers in here who just follow everyone to try to get a follow back. But the good news for you is that you can take a look at their profile first to determine if they would make a good connection or a good follower for you. So you can actually grow a network size. So we're talking about connections. You can have up to 30,000 connections on LinkedIn as of now, but you can follow as many people as you like. So there used to be a limit actually on the number of people you could follow. It used to be like 5,000 people, but LinkedIn has lifted that limitation to accommodate those of us who want to build a stronger following and network. So if you're trying to kind of get around the limitations on LinkedIn, if you are one of those who really has a really good, solid, big, large network, but you also want to engage with other people that may not fit your network, following can be a good way to do that. And other people are likely to follow you too. So, according to LinkedIn, just kind of wanted to read this so you understand what LinkedIn says about connections versus followers. Connections are members who connect on LinkedIn because you both know and trust each other. If you're connected to someone, you'll both be able to see each other's shares and updates on your LinkedIn feed. You can also send messages to your connections on LinkedIn. So that's connections. Now followers, LinkedIn followers. Following someone on LinkedIn allows you to see the person's posts and articles on your homepage without being connected to them. However, the person you're following won't see your posts. So by default, you will follow your first degree connections and you can always unfollow them. So I like to think of my followers as potential LinkedIn connections who might be a great fit for my network. When they reach out to connect with me after following my content for some time, I usually do accept their connection invitation, unless they look like a spammer. If you look like a spammer, I'm not going to accept. It's kind of my rule of thumb. So following someone before connecting with them can be a really good best practice if you'd like to engage with their content before you send a connection invitation. It also demonstrates a level of professional courtesy. So when someone follows you first, they're not presuming that you would accept their connection invitation. They are trying to say, hello, I like your content. I'm going to follow you first. So if in doubt, follow someone before you send a connection invitation, especially if you're not feeling confident that they will accept your invitation. All right, now that you understand the importance of your followers, it's critical that you understand how you can build your following to attract more of the right people, because that's what we're trying to do on LinkedIn. When we are talking about followings, it's about attracting people. If you post to LinkedIn, whether it's on your company's LinkedIn page or on your personal profile, you will be more likely to attract followers because you're showing that you're active on LinkedIn. Pretty straightforward. If you have not posted to LinkedIn in the past few weeks, that's usually the kind of my rule of thumb, then people will be a lot less likely to follow you because there's no reason. There's no reason to follow you because there's no content. So if you don't post content, following is kind of like, why would I follow you? There's nothing for me to see here. So there's absolutely no benefit to following someone on LinkedIn or following a LinkedIn page if there is no recent content. So pay attention. If you want a bigger following on LinkedIn, you have to post content. It doesn't have to be a ton of content, but it does need to be consistent enough. So keep that in mind, as you will not be able to build a following without that regular content going out on LinkedIn. So if you want to build a following on LinkedIn, that does not require people to send you a connection invitation or receive a connection invitation from you, then you must create a simple, very, very simple LinkedIn content strategy. And ideally, start posting at least once every couple of weeks. If you can swing it every week on LinkedIn, is good. For those of you who are high achievers, if you can post multiple times per week to LinkedIn, that's even better. This will encourage new followers to follow you. Keep in mind, on that note, the types of content people are looking for on LinkedIn is a lot more of the juicy content. So, deep, thoughtful, introspective, reflective content, stuff that actually shares industry insights, shifting people's perspectives. It is not the fluffy content like, go read my post. I just posted a blog. Nobody cares. On LinkedIn, people are looking for content that makes them think, that makes them really reconsider their misconceptions or what they believe about a certain topic, especially as it relates to their profession. So keep in mind, if you want your content to be effective, this is not a live stream all on content, but make sure that it does shift perspective and really pique people's interest. Once you have a consistent enough LinkedIn content strategy in place, so you're feeling pretty good, maybe you're setting a goal to post once a week, you are going to be able to start attracting people to follow you on a regular basis. You will notice it just starts happening, especially if you post long form content, stuff like this live stream, things like LinkedIn newsletters, or really thoughtful, longer posts. All of those contribute to attracting followers because you're starting conversations, you're getting people thinking, you are providing content that is not just the fluffy clickbait. So now let's get into a bit more tactical about how to increase your followers using some really simple strategies that you're probably already familiar with, but they could definitely help you increase that following faster. So gaining LinkedIn followers can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. I have clients on both ends of the spectrum. Some of my clients and students decide to go all in with their LinkedIn content marketing strategy to get as many followers as possible, as quickly as possible. Others choose to take a less intense approach, but they are laser focused on the types of people they're attracting via their content. Keep in mind, when it comes to followers, followers are attracted to your content. So, what are you posting? It's a little bit different than just sending a connection invitation where people are primarily looking at your LinkedIn profile. Your profile does come into play here, but your content is very, very important. And again, for those of you who have LinkedIn company pages, these same principles can be applied to your LinkedIn page growth if you're trying to boost the number of followers you have on your company's LinkedIn page. On that note, you can actually invite people to follow your LinkedIn company page. If you did not know this, if you are an admin, be able to look in the corner when you are logged into your company page. Right in the corner there, you will see the option to add anywhere between 100 to 250 connections, invite those connections to follow your LinkedIn page. That is one of the easiest ways to grow your page following. You do not have that option on LinkedIn as a personal profile. So keep that in mind, a little bit of a difference there. But for those of you with a page, you're trying to grow that page, invite your connections to follow your page. So there will be some minor modifications, but much of what we discussed today will be applicable to boosting your followers on the page as well. So let's jump right into the tactics. All right, so first of all, if you followed any of my content, you know I talk about profiles a lot. So optimize your LinkedIn profile for followers, or for if you have a LinkedIn page, optimize your LinkedIn page for followers. Your profile must be optimized for attracting followers because everything on LinkedIn starts with your profile. So optimizing your LinkedIn profile is your responsibility. As a LinkedIn user, your profile is expected to be up to date, accurate, and compelling. If it is not, people don't care. People will leave. They will not pay attention. That is kind of like the proving grounds on LinkedIn. People look at your profile. It doesn't matter if your content is great. If your profile sucks, you're out of luck. So make sure that your profile is dialed in. You must commit to yourself, to your business, your side hustle, to your personal brand, especially when you are trying to get a business off the ground or take your side hustle to the next level or get that dream job. Your profile must be up to date and accurate. So take 100% responsibility for your profile. It is yours. It should sound like you. You know yourself and your capabilities better than anyone. So make sure your profile feels in alignment with where you are professionally right now. LinkedIn is the place where professionals like you and me come to network with each other, explore doing good business with other good people, and focus on creating a better workplace and environment for ourselves and others. So keep in mind your profile matters a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. All you need to know are some simple tweaks to actually figure out what to fix and where to start. I will also share a link at the end of this live stream if you are curious on, like, Mindi, how do I get started with fixing my profile? I'll share a link to an article that talks about 7 profile tips so you can focus on optimizing your profile. It doesn't have to take that long. Once you optimize your LinkedIn profile, so once you're good with the content there, you will want to be sure to turn on creator mode, which will give you the follow button instead of the connect button. So if you know what I'm talking about on your profile, if somebody comes to your profile and you have creator mode turned on, what they will see is that little blue button. If they don't follow, if they're not connected to you, they will see a button that says follow instead of connect. So that is a big signal to people to follow or connect. It lets them know what your preference is. I also advise a lot of people who get a lot of spam to actually just turn on creator mode and get followers instead of connections, because it actually prevents a little bit of spam and prevents people, makes it just a little bit harder for them to send you a connection invitation. So it's a really good strategy and hack, even if you're not posting a ton of content, but if you're getting a lot of spam and you're like, oh, that sounds like a great idea, I'll just encourage people to follow me so I have fewer connection invitations that are spammy to go through. So that's another little side note on that topic. So keep that in mind. Creator mode, if you're like, Mindi, where's creator mode? Just go to your profile, scroll about, probably 1 or 2 scrolls down the page. You'll see creator mode and it will be green and say on if it's on. It will be gray and say off if it's off. So you just toggle that on and you're good to go. So this simple action will signal to people that you want them to follow you on LinkedIn rather than send you a LinkedIn connection. So it's one of the easiest ways. And I know it's super, super simple. Like, it's super simple. Like, just turn on creator mode to increase your followers, because you will start getting more followers and people who will click that button to follow you. Again, one caveat on this: don't turn on creator mode until you're actually posting content to LinkedIn. So you really should be posting content, because otherwise it makes no sense for them to follow you. They should just connect with you if you're not posting content to LinkedIn. So keep that in mind. Again, following is for content. All right. Okay. So number 2, you'll probably look at this one and go, what are you talking about, Mindi? Don't rely on LinkedIn to send you followers. Like, wait. We're talking about LinkedIn and followers. What are you talking about? So you may wonder what I'm telling you here when I say not to rely on LinkedIn. We're talking about getting new followers on LinkedIn, aren't we? Shouldn't we expect LinkedIn to generate traffic for us? Yes and no. Okay. What I'm saying is that you want to do other activities off LinkedIn that will drive people to your LinkedIn profile as a follow up afterwards. This is the secret. And this is what a lot of people aren't talking about. For example, consider every single time that you speak at a virtual or in person event, you do an interview as a podcast guest, you network at an event that's filled with great people who'd be interested in what you share on LinkedIn. If you make a good impression, people are going to look you up on LinkedIn and either follow you or send you a connection invitation. So the more activities, the more that you are getting out there elsewhere in other places, the bigger your following on LinkedIn is going to get. So it's kind of a win win. So, one of the fastest ways to grow your following on LinkedIn is to speak, present to an audience, because if you do it well, they will hop over to LinkedIn to follow your content. This is how I have grown my network incredibly and grow my following over the last, I would say, the last year and a half. I've really focused a lot more on speaking and podcasting and guesting and being on other people's shows. And it's amazing. Like after I hop off that, it's like I come to LinkedIn and there's like 60 connection invitations and all of these new followers from that one engagement. So if you speak, if you are networking, if you're getting out there, we all should be. We don't all have to be speakers, but we are all networking and going to events. We are hopping into workshops and webinars. Those are great places to make a little bit of an impact and get people to connect with you on LinkedIn. Again, you don't want to be posting in those, especially on a Zoom chat. If you're like in a Zoom room with a bunch of people, you don't want to be like, here's my LinkedIn, everyone, go follow me. No, that's not the way to do it. You want to be a little bit more clever, make sure you're engaging in the conversation, and people will naturally think, oh, you're really smart. You said something interesting. I'm going to go look you up on LinkedIn. That's a bit more how it works if you aren't presenting or in the spotlight. So, my clients and students who grow the fastest are those who are not afraid to get out there and network or speak at events. And it doesn't have to be a paid speaking engagement. Just get out there, especially if you are new in your niche. If you are trying to build a name, if you're trying to build that momentum, get out there and speak for free. Do a workshop, look up associations, any opportunity that you can get to grow your network and practice speaking and talking about what you do. The more your LinkedIn network is going to grow, the more connections you're going to get, the more visibility you're going to get, which is going to convert to more business for you when you do it well. All right. So, lastly, number 3, create a LinkedIn follower engagement checklist. You're like, Mindy, a checklist. You know me, I love systems. I love processes. Like, give me a checklist that I can follow and I am on it. Like, I love creating checklists. If you look, I have a checklist for everything. I have a checklist for my live streams. I have a checklist for connecting. I have a checklist for just about everything. One of my favorite ways to build my own LinkedIn following is to have a checklist for what I do with existing followers, commenters, likers, engagers on my content. I also use this very same strategy for my clients who are thought leaders and want to maximize their following. So here's how it works. In a nutshell, there is a little bit of nuance, but every single time somebody posts to LinkedIn, so I post to LinkedIn or client posts to LinkedIn, we monitor the people who like, engage, comment, or share the post. All right. So you can see all of that on LinkedIn. You can see who's liking, engaging, who's commenting. You can see their LinkedIn profile. You can tell if they're a good fit for your network or not. So many of them are going to be your LinkedIn connections because content goes to your LinkedIn connections. They're going to be the first to see it. But if that content gets a little bit of traction and your connections like it and they start commenting, then people in their networks are going to like it and comment, and you can see how it grows. It has this long tail effect. So you are going to notice over time that you're going to get some second or third degree connections, which means they are not following you, most likely. They are connected to somebody you're connected to. So a lot of times those second or third degree connections can be a perfect fit for you. So then we make a determination whether or not to follow these people or send them a connection invitation. If we're not quite sure, following them is a really good step because we're like, I'm not sure if they would actually be a great connection, but let's just follow them. Maybe they'll send a connection in return. So this approach works like gangbusters. First of all, because we're not just posting and ghosting. When I'm saying posting and ghosting, you don't just share content on LinkedIn and not pay attention to what happens. You always, always, always pay attention to the activity happening on your posts. So we are not hoping that a post goes viral. Like some people, I think, post and like, oh, I hope this goes viral. I'm just, hoping that, certain people see it. I'll tag a bunch of people and it'll go viral. No, we're intentionally engaging and following up with everyone who looks like a good fit to let them know we appreciate them paying attention. So does this take a little bit of time to implement? Yes. And you will have to figure out what your criteria is, like, do you want to just send everybody, follow everybody, or do you want to send them a connection invitation? What types of people actually belong in your network? So you need to think that through, but just start. Like, go look at a recent LinkedIn post that you have shared that has, a number of likes or comments. Go look at the people, like click on that. You see where all those likes and comments are, those numbers, click on that. You'll see a list of people. Look at those names. Are there any people in there who would be a good fit for your network or you should actually go follow. Are you seeing any familiar faces? There are going to be people who follow and like every single piece of your content, and sometimes they're not connected to you. So make sure to pay attention. When you pay attention, it makes all the difference in the world because LinkedIn is about paying attention. When you care about the people in your network, when you care about the people engaging with your content, you are showing that you're a real human, that you're not just out there for yourself, that you actually want to provide value. And it works like magic and it's fun. Like, I think that's the best part of LinkedIn. When you authentically engage as yourself, you're not trying to shortcut the system, you're not trying to use a LinkedIn hack. It is literally about you connecting with other good people and acknowledging that you saw them. This process only takes probably for most of us, unless you are really popular, this process will probably take you 5 to 10 minutes a day. You're engaging with people who are doing you the honor of paying attention. When you treat them well, they spread the word. They continue to engage with your posts, which drives your content into other people's feeds, and boom, like you have a following like that. So it's the domino effect in action, and it's not that hard, and it's a lot of fun. You're not doing anything spammy. And I think so many times we get caught up in all these hacks. Like we look for an article that has all these tactics, and yeah, sometimes the hacks work, but you know what works the best on LinkedIn over a long period of time? Something that doesn't make you feel icky on the inside, that you are actually building relationships, you are actually helping people. People are commenting on your post saying, "That was so insightful," or "I always look forward to your content." That is when you know you're having an impact. And that's what we are here to do on LinkedIn. We are elevating the game. We are not here to add to the noise. We are here to really share a message and help people, get people to see things differently. And that's why we're here. All right. So, in conclusion, let me go through those three in case you missed any of them. So, first of all, make sure to optimize your LinkedIn profile for followers. Again, remember, turn on creator mode. If you don't have creator mode turned on, that will prompt people to follow you versus making it really easy for them to connect with you. On that note, they can still connect with you. So don't worry, it's just kind of hidden and tucked away a little bit. So if somebody still wants to send you a connection invitation, they can. It will not prevent them from doing so. Then, number two, remember, don't rely on LinkedIn to send you followers. You are actually going to network and do other things. You're going to speak, you're going to talk to people, you're going to go to workshops, you're going to engage with other people that may be a good fit for your LinkedIn network who are going to look you up because they had such a positive experience with you. Then, lastly, create a LinkedIn follower engagement checklist. It can be short, it could be like 5 steps, but something really short that you can just look at every time you do a post, that you go back through that post about a week later, look at all the engagers and likers and commenters, and follow up with anyone who looks interesting. That's simple. All right. So that's it for today. This is a fun topic. All right. So if you are looking for that extra edge to get started on the right path, get on the wait list for the 90-minute LinkedIn profile. It's going to be available in late October, so later this month. It is tailored to take you through optimizing the 7 sections of your LinkedIn profile in less than 90 minutes. So my goal was to make it as simple as possible. I have taught a lot of programs. I have done a lot of accelerator programs, and we learned it in 5 days. So I shrunk it. And I said, what if we could do a LinkedIn profile in 90 minutes and just focused on the most important parts? So that's what the 90-minute LinkedIn profile is. If you're curious, get on the wait list. It will be coming soon. And I will see you all next week on Mondays with Mindy. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below. My inbox is open if you want to message me directly. I love talking about this stuff. I love talking about how we can make LinkedIn better, how we can build our relationships, how we can help each other more. So if you have ideas, I'd love to hear them. All right, that's it for today. I think I'm going to go out for a surf. It's looking good. All right, I will see you all later. Bye for now.